the guard position, you mean? I mean, oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
not
I,
happy with the amount.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
not have, yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, they just had. I mean, you looked at like the second unit at times, and I'm looking at it from afar, and my contacts are watering out, and my eyesight's already terrible, and I'm kind of like, wait, who is that? He looks good. I was like, oh wow, that's TLC. I was like, he looks like he gained some. I was like, he looks like he gained some muscle. He's playing really smooth, and then Shamit makes a nice pass, and I'm like, oh my, I was like, there's a lot of guys on this team. I was like, I had a friend. Who's a Pistons fan, so he's in like just absolute purgatory from college, and he texted me and he was just like, "You guys have a lot of good players," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, we do." Like,
and morons wanted to trade these dudes for James Harden.
I know.
Can I just say one thing that is proven by this game that this game shows why the James Harden thing is folly.
Yep.
Right. Maybe James Harden gives you insurance to, I don't know what, but James Harden isn't good unless he's holding the ball.
Yep.
He dribbles, jab step. Something that you think he traveled. No, that's not a travel. That keeps my dribble. Like, what do you think that does to rhythm shooters? Now, he had a very good assist stats. He created a lot of offense, but a lot of times he was creating that offense in the last 7 to 15 seconds of a possession. Why would you want that? Why would you have to give up pieces that would take away from what makes this team really special? It's not just the fact that we have 2 superstars. The Miami Heat had 3 superstars. But because of it, Chris Bosh had to become a all-star.
Yep.
Dwayne Wade had to just become, all right, I'm helping 20-something points a game guy. And the benches those teams had was trash. Those benches made it where even LeBron had to get tired. They lost 2 times. Right? So the whole concept of we've got 3 superstars, we win, is an idiotic one. Especially when you look at what the Nets can do. Like, there's people, I won't say the podcast name because I don't want to make it seem like everything they do is shit and their guest is shit, because it's some pretty good guys. But they were talking about that the Harden thing is, they probably wanted to do it, but the Nets, Houston didn't want what the Nets was offering, and I think that's BS. I don't think the Nets were ever in it. Sean Marks, when Pooch asked him, finally got the Nets to respond, Sean Marks said, "We are not engaged." It's the craziest thing how NBA media works, because even though he said that, even though everyone put the quotes out in the media, the official quote was, "We are not engaged." Woj says really recently, there hasn't been much talk between the 2 teams, the Nets and the Houston. But people still believe that this Harden thing was close to happening, and it's not. It was never. And the reason why is because Sean Marks basically said, I can, over a 82 game season, 72 this time, I could basically send guys at you in waves. And I think it gives us a hell of an advantage that Harden would never do. Harden would have to become less of himself. He would have to become Karis LeVert coming off the bench, because you can't get better than KD.
Yeah, I also want to I'm actually like really really intrigued about the Harden thing from Nets fans, and I'm honestly way more. I'm even more willing to like call people out. I just honestly don't even remember because there's at this point a couple of Nets podcasts, and I feel like my entire Twitter feed is either uh, anti-Trump jokes, which I'm totally fine with, or it's Nets related stuff, and the amount of pro Harden stuff that seems like it's basically about either an inferiority complex or it's about like making a 2K roster is just like is just I don't know, it's mind blowing. On top of the fact that like look, I'm not trying to call out any, I'm not trying to physically shame anyone, but he could not have come into camp looking worse. Like
Yeah,
it's hard. It was
and
it's hard to come to camp looking like he looks like he's somewhere in between James Harden and Rick Ross right now.
yeah, and
And
some
like
part of it is bad angles and all that. But did you see the mess that he did? You want to introduce that guy into the same locker room as the guy walking around the court burning the sage? Who I
yeah,
don't think Sean Marks is that dumb.
and it's also like it's also I find a lot of the Nets fans who are pro the Harden trade, and I know you deal with this also. I find like the condescension that they have towards people who are against it to just be totally like ridiculous, and their justifications are completely unfounded. Like this idea that three ball dominant players are going to seamlessly work together, not even keeping in mind all their off court possible chemistry stuff, but the just talking on court, the idea that three guys who are predominantly on ball, dominant on ball, need the ball in their hands, like waste the shot clock thing, and that those three guys are going to complement each other, and then people say, well, look, it worked with like LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, and it's like, yeah, okay,
They all three of them did different things.
yeah, first of all, LeBron and Wade took a year to basically figure it out, and you're also talking about LeBron, who's the best or second best player of all time, and can basically play a point guard role. Wade could still play a slasher, and Bosh basically became a 3-and-D center guy. So the Harden, Durant, and Kyrie are not capable of doing that. They don't play complementary games. This isn't like Steph, Clay, and Durant playing together. Like there's no way around it. Like it's not. It's basically having three shooting guards slash Durant as a small forward, but three shooting guards slash small forwards playing against each other, playing with each other. It's not like it's not going to work. And if you think that those three guys coupled with Joe Harris and DeAndre Jordan and no bench is a good recipe, on top of the fact that if any of them get hurt, the team is like in dire straits. I don't know. I find it to be like annoying. And look, to be fair to us, there's nothing I can come back from. Like someone will say like, oh well, how do you stop it? And it's like, yeah, I mean, like this is all made up. I can't talk in like 2K language. I can just tell you like I know basketball, and three ball dominant guys is not the way to win a championship.
Right. Their calculus is, I have two superstars, but what if I could have three? And nothing proves that was folly than the way they were dominant in these preseason games. The way that they could just it looks like they were playing basketball on a hill, and every time they were coming down court with the ball, they were running downhill while Boston was running uphill.
I got a good question. I got a good question for the listeners, right? I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Do the people who think this, because I'm talking at Nets Nation right now, do you guys think in like the early 2000s that like Kobe, Iverson, and Vince Carter is like a good trio? I think that's a disaster.
That's a better trio than Durant, Kyrie, and and Harden.
those are three guys that those are three guys that needed the ball in their hand, like held the ball for an entire shot clock. Didn't create a ton for others besides like Kobe could kind of play more of the Durant role in terms of doing that. But like
Right.
that's not winning games because what's Iverson and Carter doing like on the side? Like it's just not how basketball works.
Right. But you know what? Let's not let it take away from the game tonight. The game tonight showed how dominating that we are, how versatile that we are. I will give you one player that I don't think played particularly well, even though I love him. He's my baby boy, and that's Jarrett Allen. How do you think the whole Jarrett Allen, DeAndre Jordan dynamic? What's your takeaway on those two?
I'm going to use I know I tend to do cross sports reference analogies. I think the center position on this Nets team has to kind of be like the way managers handle bullpens. I think it's a hot and cold game. I think both of these guys when both of them are at their best, they're pretty close. Maybe DJ has a little bit of the edge when DJ like really gears back to 2011 or 12 or whatever he's able to do. But I think on the average, Allen is better. But I think a lot of it is just matchup dependent and who they're going against. Like DJ is obviously wider and bigger, and I think in the matchups against the guys like Embiid is when he can be more helpful. But I think in the games where you need more finesse, I think Allen's the guy, which is why that's why I look at it as kind of like a lefty righty bullpen switch.
Yeah, and look, I think Jarrett Allen is better than DeAndre at this point, right? They're mirror images in the stat sheet. I just think Jarrett is faster, but again, I'm going to trust these guys. And here is my argument for why Jarrett Allen should come off the bench. And this is coming from a guy who loves this player, thinks this player is going to be the best lobs and dunks center. Not the best center talent. He's not going to be like how Cat and some of these other guys are. But when it comes to lobs and dunks, the perfect center for the type of offense the Nets run and the responsibilities that they want centers to care about, there's not going to be a better player than Jarrett Allen in 2 years. But right now, is there an argument that DeAndre Jordan is going to have better chemistry with KD? KD's going to play a lot more minutes than DeAndre Jordan, and he will play some with Jarrett Allen. You will see some sprinkling of that. And right now, it's just better to just go with the sturdy veteran who has been on the precipice of winning before. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to close that argument off with Jarrett Allen is going to be playing with Karras. Karras is coming off the bench. And those two have great chemistry, as well as, playing with some of these other guys who are coming off the bench. Now, I don't think it helps him playing with Torian on that second team. I think that hurts a lot, even though Torian didn't have a bad game today. He had a really decent game today that made me very hopeful. But still, I think maybe letting the Nets who basically took us to the playoffs and and is now our bench team, our bench five, basically letting them rock together and letting our core of older guys play until until all the ligaments turn to dust. So, how'd you see it? Besides that,
in terms of Allen generally, or in terms of
no, I mean, could you think is there logic to what I'm saying?
Yeah,
in the sense of letting the young Nets, or the guys I call the real Nets, play together in the second team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I honestly like that. I think there's a really good argument for that. I think, like, I mean, I'd obviously keep